Long ago, in the ancient city of Jerusalem, an important evening was beginning. In this land, daily life often revolved around shared meals, which were cherished opportunities for families and friends to gather. These meals were moments to talk, to learn, and to simply be present with one another. The setting for our story was a quiet, private upper room, prepared for a special occasion away from the busy city streets. In those days, people observed many customs and traditions passed down through generations. Sharing food was a central part of their culture, connecting people and marking important events. Meals were often times for teaching and for remembering history. Before this particular evening, life in Jerusalem involved a routine of travel, teaching, and fellowship, always with an awareness of their heritage. At the heart of our story are Jesus and his 12 close companions, known as the disciples. Jesus was a respected teacher, often found traveling through towns and villages, sharing his insights and lessons. He spoke of kindness and understanding, guiding people with his words. His disciples had left their former lives to follow him, learning directly from his daily actions and teachings. On this significant evening, Jesus and his disciples gathered in that quiet upper room. The atmosphere was one of anticipation. The table was prepared, adorned with the familiar elements of a traditional meal: flat, unleavened bread and cups of wine. These items were common to their diet and rituals. It was a scene of comfortable familiarity, a usual gathering of friends. As they shared this meal, Jesus began to impart a profound teaching. He spoke to his disciples about the importance of humility. He showed them what it meant to serve others, demonstrating through his own actions. He taught that true leadership comes not from being served, but from humbly serving those around you. This teaching invited his followers to adopt a spirit of selfless care. During this very same meal, Jesus performed specific actions that would be remembered. He took the bread, gave thanks, broke it into pieces, and then shared it with his disciples. Similarly, he took a cup of wine, offered thanks, and passed it among them. He explained that these simple elements would symbolize a new agreement, a special bond. It was also at this meal that Jesus acknowledged a difficult truth: that one of their own group would make a choice to act against him. This created quiet reflection among the disciples. The disciples faced a significant challenge in fully understanding the depth of what Jesus was communicating. He spoke of a new covenant, a sacred promise and agreement between God and humanity. This concept was complex and represented a new way of relating. It was a profound change that was difficult to grasp fully in that very moment, requiring faith and time to truly comprehend. In the midst of these weighty teachings and symbolic actions, a crucial message emerged, emphasizing the deep importance of unity. Jesus impressed upon his disciples the necessity of sticking together, of remaining united in spirit and purpose. He taught them that their shared mission and their future strength depended greatly on their ability to act as one and to support each other. This idea of unity became a pivotal point. As Jesus spoke these words and performed these acts, the atmosphere in the room shifted from quiet anticipation to a deeper solemnity and understanding. The disciples received the bread and wine, each reflecting on the profound messages of humility, the new covenant, and the challenging revelation of a future choice by one among them. They knew that this was not just another meal, but a foundational moment that would alter their path. After this extraordinary meal, the disciples' understanding of Jesus' teachings did not fully form all at once. Over the days, weeks, and months that followed, their experiences would slowly help them to grasp the full meaning of that evening. The lessons of humility and unity, the symbolism of the bread and wine, and the concept of a new covenant would gradually take root in their minds, guiding their actions. The central lesson that can be learned from this special meal is the enduring value of humility and the power of unity. It teaches us that true strength and impact often come from serving others with a humble heart, rather than seeking personal gain. It also shows us that working together, supporting each other, and standing united in purpose can build strong relationships and help a group achieve great things. With these profound words and symbolic actions, the special meal quietly concluded. It left the disciples with many thoughts to ponder, providing them with a guiding framework for their future endeavors. The simple sharing of bread and wine at that table became a lasting symbol, a way to remember and carry forward the lessons of humble service, deep connection, and enduring togetherness. In an ancient land, long ago, nestled among hills and valleys, was a region known as Judea. Here, people lived their daily lives in towns and small villages, following age-old customs and traditions. It was a place where community life was central, and stories were often shared from one generation to the next. This land was part of a much larger empire that governed many different regions and peoples. Life in Judea involved farming the land, trading goods in bustling markets, and gathering for important religious festivals. There were also local leaders and authorities who made decisions for the people, ensuring order and upholding the laws of the time. During this period, a man named Jesus traveled throughout Judea and its neighboring areas. He was the main character in many stories told at that time. Jesus spoke to crowds of people in various places, sharing messages about kindness, understanding, and helping one another. Many listened intently to his teachings and chose to follow him on his journeys. For a period, Jesus continued his travels, teaching his followers and engaging in discussions with different groups. He gathered many people around him who believed in his words and actions. This pattern of teaching and journeying was a familiar part of his life and the lives of those who accompanied him. Then, a significant event occurred. Jesus was brought before the authorities of the region. After a series of questions and discussions, a decision was made. Jesus was formally condemned by these leaders. He was declared guilty of offenses by the governing powers, and this moment marked a profound shift in his story. Following this judgment, Jesus was led out of the city. As was customary for those condemned in this manner, he was given a heavy wooden crossbar to carry. He did not resist the path laid before him. He accepted the task, quietly proceeding as directed by the soldiers. The journey was physically demanding for Jesus. The heavy crossbar, combined with his weakened state, made each step a significant effort. Along the way, he experienced difficulty and fell under the weight. Another person was then made to help him carry the crossbar the rest of the way to the designated place, outside the city walls. Upon reaching the place, Jesus was placed upon the cross. This manner of execution was a method used in that time. After some time, Jesus passed away on the cross. With his passing, his journey ended, and the act of giving his life, as he had intended, reached its fulfillment. This marked the complete and final act of his sacrifice. After his passing, those who cared for Jesus showed their deep sorrow. His friends and followers came and respectfully prepared his body for burial. They carefully wrapped him in cloths, a quiet sign of their devotion and care. These actions demonstrated a gentle love and respect for him in their grief. Over time, the memory of Jesus and his teachings continued to be shared. His followers, though initially saddened, began to tell his story to others, remembering his words and his life. The message he shared, focusing on kindness and selfless actions, slowly spread beyond his immediate community, reaching new people in different places. From this story, one can consider the idea of giving of oneself for others, even in challenging situations. It illustrates that a path of calm acceptance can be followed, even when faced with great difficulty. The enduring message focuses on the importance of peace and selflessness. The story of Jesus, his life, and his ultimate act of self-giving, continued to be remembered and shared. It remains a foundational narrative for many, inspiring contemplation and reflection across generations. In a land far away, long ago, near an ancient city called Jerusalem, people lived their lives. They cared for their families, worked the land, and observed their traditions. It was a place with dusty roads and olive groves, where stories were shared and daily rhythms continued through the seasons. During this time, the land was part of a larger kingdom, governed by a distant empire. Many people looked forward to a future where things might be different, hoping for peace and justice. Life had its steady routines, with farming, trading, and community gatherings forming the fabric of everyday existence. Our story focuses on a central figure named Jesus. He was known as a kind teacher and a gentle healer. Jesus traveled through towns and villages, sharing messages of love, compassion, and hope with all who would listen. He often spoke in parables, simple stories that helped people understand important truths. Before the main events of our story, Jesus' journey on earth had come to an end. His body was carefully prepared and then placed in a new tomb, which was carved into rock. A very large, heavy stone was rolled in front of the entrance, sealing the tomb to keep it secure and marking it as a final resting place. After a period of quiet waiting, a powerful and unique event took place. God, the creator of all things, made a profound decision and acted to raise Jesus back to life. This was an extraordinary moment, an act of immense power that was beyond human understanding or expectation. Following this divine intervention, the immediate condition that was being affected was the state of death. The stillness and silence that death had brought to Jesus' body were directly confronted by a new, living power. This was a profound reversal of what had seemed final and unchanging, bringing about a new reality. The greatest challenge or difficulty in this entire event was the very idea of resurrection itself. For the people of that time, resurrection was a concept far beyond their ordinary experiences. It presented a complete shift in what was known about life and death, making it hard to imagine or fully comprehend such a powerful change. The most important turning point came when Jesus truly lived again. The tomb, which had been sealed, was found empty. Then, in the days that followed, Jesus appeared to his friends and many followers, showing himself to them, alive and whole. He walked, talked, and ate with them, just as before. With Jesus alive again, the immediate consequence was a powerful renewal of hope. The sadness and confusion that his friends and followers had felt turned into immense joy and wonder. A new understanding began to grow in their hearts, replacing their despair with a sense of future and possibility. Over the days and weeks that followed, Jesus continued to spend time with his disciples. He taught them more about his message and prepared them for what was to come. These moments helped his followers to deeply understand the meaning of his return to life, and their faith grew stronger with each encounter. This story teaches us that even in moments that seem like an absolute end, there can be new beginnings. It shows us that life can overcome what appears to be final, offering a message of enduring hope, strength, and the possibility of renewal, even in the most challenging situations. And so, the story of Jesus' resurrection became a central message, spreading peacefully from those ancient days in Jerusalem. It has continued to inspire countless people across the world, offering comfort, purpose, and the timeless promise of life and hope for many generations. Long ago, in a land far away, a special story unfolded that people still remember today. It happened after some very important events, involving a teacher named Jesus and his friends. This story is about a particular moment when Jesus was preparing to leave them, marking a significant change for everyone involved. It's a quiet moment, full of meaning for those who were there to witness it. At this time, Jesus had been spending many days with his close companions after returning to life. He had been teaching them and reminding them about the important work they were meant to do together. This work, sometimes called their mission, was a central part of their lives. They had a shared purpose, and Jesus was guiding them every step of the way, making sure they understood what came next. The main character in our story is Jesus himself. He was a kind teacher and a good friend to many people. He spent his days sharing important lessons and showing love to everyone he met. He had gathered a group of 12 special friends, often called apostles, who learned directly from him. They followed him and listened carefully to his words, preparing for the time when they would share his message with others. Before this particular day, Jesus had been with his friends for 40 days, sharing meals and conversations. He was giving them their last instructions, making sure they understood their future tasks. Everything felt stable in their small group. They knew their purpose, and Jesus was physically present, offering comfort and direction. They continued their mission, learning and growing as he led them. Then came a remarkable moment. Jesus gathered his friends one last time on a small hill. He spoke to them, giving them specific instructions about waiting for a special power that would help them. As he was speaking, something extraordinary happened. He began to rise steadily from the ground. He moved upward, slowly and gently, into the sky, while his friends watched. As Jesus rose, his friends stood looking up, their eyes fixed on him. They followed his upward movement with quiet attention. They watched him ascend higher and higher. A cloud eventually came and covered him from their sight. Their posture was still, their faces turned toward the sky, filled with a sense of wonder and perhaps a quiet anticipation of what this departure meant for them. The most significant change for the friends was that Jesus, their beloved teacher and leader, was no longer physically present with them. He had departed, leaving them to continue their important work without his visible guidance. This created a new situation, a challenge for them to understand how to proceed with the mission Jesus had given them, now that he was gone from their sight. However, a key turning point occurred immediately. While the friends were still gazing into the sky, two men dressed in bright white clothes suddenly stood beside them. These messengers spoke comforting words, reminding them that Jesus would one day return in the same way he had left. These words brought a feeling of reassurance and hope, shifting their focus from looking up to looking forward. Following this event and the encouraging words, Jesus' friends began to move. They turned away from the spot where Jesus had ascended. They did not linger there, but instead started their journey back down the hill. Their first action was to return to the city of Jerusalem, just as Jesus had instructed them to do before he left. This was their immediate next step. Once back in Jerusalem, the friends gathered together in a room. They did not feel lost, but instead united. They spent their time praying and waiting, just as Jesus had told them. This period of quiet togetherness helped them to feel strong and ready. They encouraged each other, remembering all the lessons Jesus had taught them, preparing for the next part of their important mission. The story of Jesus' ascension teaches us a simple lesson. Even when a leader or a friend leaves, the important work they started can continue. Their teachings and the purpose they shared can live on through those who listened and learned. It shows that remembering instructions and staying united can help a group to carry on with their shared purpose, even when circumstances change. And so, the friends of Jesus remained together, calm and resolute. They continued to remember his words and prepare for their future tasks. The story ends not with a final farewell, but with a quiet sense of ongoing purpose and expectation, as they waited for what was to come, holding onto the hope and the lessons Jesus had given them.